Marky Bilson, Tri-City Sports Now. Give you an update on the baseball scores. You know, when I talk to Josh Brown tomorrow in 24 hours on this show, I believe that the Braves are going to be in third place. And I say that because the San Diego Padres, in the middle of the fifth, now lead the Braves 6-0. Whereas the Metsies, as Casey Stengel used to call them, are now up on the Reds 1-0 at the end of 5. It was a 1-0 victory for the Reds yesterday against the Mets. The run has been scored, are you ready for this? By Noah Syndergaard. He had a home run, which ties him on the all-time list for Mets pitchers with the ailing Tom Seaver for all-time home runs hit by Mets pitchers. I would have thought, I remember Rick Aguilera was a very good hitter, for the Mets. I'm trying to remember. Walt Terrell was a good hitter for the Mets. That goes back, Walt Terrell, yeah, sure. Anyway, he pitched his last game in 1990, I believe. But no, he was a pretty fairly decent hitting pitcher for the Mets, if memory serves. So there were, it was Koosman. I want to say Koosman did something. Anyway, regardless, Noah Syndergaard tying Tom Seaver for the all-time home run list by Met pitchers. There you go. Big thing for him and all that. So, it was a Brave. Come on. Boston and Milwaukee. Didn't have a chance to pitch for Atlanta, though. I do remember hearing, Ernie Johnson used to interview Warren Spahn on Braves pregame shows and things like that. And that really showed you just the tragedy of franchise relocation, because you knew it was like the fans could not relate to him. You would relate to him the way you would relate to, let's say, interview with Sandy Koufax or Robin Roberts or, I don't know, Sam McDowell or somebody like that, a great pitcher of that era. Don't get me wrong, but you couldn't really say, because he was a Milwaukee Brave, he was not an Atlanta Brave, that he was really one of yours. But anyway, when we last talked to Josh Brown, we were saying, it's still early, and the Mets had lost a chance by losing 2 of 3 to the Reds to be in first place. They were a game back in 500. Looks like they're going to be a game back of 500, and possibly as many, they'll be, at least for the time being, assuming they don't come back from a 6-0 mid-game deficit to the Padres, they'll be 2.5 back after that game, and it looks like they'll be in third place and not tied for second with the Mets, who have a one. There you go. That's the latest with Major League Baseball, and I'm sure there are literally dozens of people at SunTrust Park right now watching that ball game. You might have more people on Johnson City Cardinals opening day. And I think it says a lot about ticket prices, as well as just, okay, you're playing a noon game on a Thursday. I'm just saying. All right. Marky Bilson, Tri-City Sports Now, want to talk a little bit about this. We were mentioning before, and I mentioned yesterday, there was a USA Today preseason top 25 for college football. So I knew the Colorado Buffaloes were not going to have a real good team, but they were my 24th team in the because they had been in the top 25 the year before. He said rank these teams. I'm not going to look a $900 paycheck in the, no, I'm not going to, look that or turn that down. Anyway, so a lot of times, especially, Tennessee, when they went for a look at USA Today, they had 2 new teams in the top 25. They were Auburn and they were Northwestern. All right. That's why they're in it. Anyway, what about the SEC? What are we going to look for? Meyerburn, who was the guy that came out with the early top 25, comes out, and I'm going to give you some. It says, envisioning the year 2 bump that Alabama and Georgia did. Tennessee is the next SEC blue blood to daydream about the prospect of taking a mammoth step forward in their second season under a new coaching staff. talent in Tennessee isn't what it is in Georgia or Alabama, let's face that. Their players, yeah, Tennessee needs offensive linemen. Missouri has them. Hey, wouldn't you like to come here? Blah, blah, blah. You know, you won't have to sit out a year if you do. There's one thing that I actually think might actually hurt Tennessee in that. I mean, we can talk about the ethics and all that, but you know that Missouri, on an educational background basis, you know, get some Missouri players. There's only one problem. There's not one football player at Missouri majoring in journalism. That disappoints me. That disappoints me big time. Anyway, but the idea is Kelly Bryant, what's he going to do? I mean, that's pretty good to replace Drew Lock, who'll be the Broncos quarterback of the future, with Kelly Bryant, who may be, I don't know, the Chargers quarterback of the future, the way it works. It's a 3. He's a good coach. At least they have an idea what to expect when they have that staff. That's going to be really hard to take if Sal Sinceri beats Tennessee. Then again, it was hard to take when Butch Jones did it, wasn't it? Nick Saban has it on. That's the positive there for Florida. The idea can come back. Dan Mullen, his second year. This could basically because they're Florida and it's the second-year coach. For Georgia, you know, Kirby Smart, Jeff Fromm, there you go. That's the hope there. What else do we got? Texas A&M, they might take the leap. South Carolina, they lose Deebo Samuels. That's going to back. Tigers, LSU, figure to be back. They just reload. Vanderbilt, no quarterback with Kyle Shermer gone, but can they run the ball? If so, maybe they could be respected. Kentucky, situation of, well, how good is Stu? Apart, but if they can find people to replace them, watch out for Kentucky.